Welcome to the OneRing.net, live from Scum and Villainy Cantina. It's Torn Tuesday, and we're getting ready to transform Scum and Villainy into a wizarding tournament tonight. It's our Tri-Wizard tournament. So I'm head girl for Slytherin, so it doesn't look very hobbity, I know. And Cliff is here as Dumbledore. And we'll be your hosts as we walk you through all the latest news for the Lord of the Rings on Prime series. That we had a whole string of big announcements in this last week. We're going to have a fun discussion with that. Our chat room's going now, so we can see you guys, say hi, and ask us your questions. We're also taking any wizarding questions tonight. So if you have any wizarding preferences, or if you've been sorted into a house and want to show your Slytherin pride, I only care about Slytherin pride today. Oh, and also Dr. Strange is in the house. So there's that. But hi, everybody.
This is how Dumbledore does his Doctor Strange spellcasting.
I like it.
Nitwit, blubber, oddment, tweak.
Something wicked this way comes.
Something wicked this way comes. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Disaster Hour, where I knock everything over with robes and costumes.
Yes, same. And my wand.
My Elder Wand.
Yep.
Lumos.
And look at this great book he's got as well.
Oh, yes.
Is that the Order of the Phoenix?
This is my Order of the Phoenix book, and I'm all ready to go now. See? My Elder Wand. Wow, this is a very powerful magic wand. It's very powerful. I can feel the spells running through this magic wand. This is quite... I should be very careful with this.
Careful where you point that thing.
Yeah, this could be dangerous.
It's also really exciting for us tonight, Cliff, because doors are opening at Scum and Villainy tonight at 5, which it's 5 o'clock right now, which means we're going to be filled up here shortly with all sorts of people watching us. So excited about that.
As am I. Hello, nice to see you, Chelsea.
You as well.
Welcome to the live show, everybody. My name's Clifford Broadway. This is Chelsea Schwartz, and I want to make a joke of Schwarz, which is the Al Pacino character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Or just FAO Schwarz.
FAO Schwarz. Welcome to the OneRing.net Torn Tuesday. Hey, everybody.
Hey, look, Pipsquet is a Hufflepuff.
It's a big
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Overlapping the wizarding world with the Lord of the Rings Tolkien world.
Because Ringers, we are the nicest fandom, and we like things outside of Lord of the Rings and Hobbits and Tolkien in the Second Age. So you know, we can be fans of wizards. I mean, after all, I do love Gandalf and Radagast.
I wonder how many bottles and glasses I'm going to knock over with this costume tonight.
Well, I mean, the rest of the night you won't be behind the bar just while we're talking. Hey, look, you made me disappear.
Look at this. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it's the magic act. Da-da-da. She's reappeared suddenly. What happened? Chelsea, where'd you go?
I went to the Second Age.
I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to be doing this whole thing where you take your arms and go, woof, woof, and get your fabric out of the way. That's hilarious. Hello, everybody. Wow. This is a very big, exciting show because recently our friends at Amazon Studios put out a video that was, it was put out there on Reddit and on Instagram and on Twitter. And it was a little video that, it played like a corporate, it played out like a little corporate public service announcement, a little PSA. Here's our fellowship, meet our people. And they did little images of, the team of writers.
I do want to say somebody said that they don't see our comments in Facebook. We see your Facebook comments. I just wanted to say that. Yeah,
and we do have a lot of people connected with us. Welcome to the live show. There's a hotline, which is 530-64-FRODO. Again, 530-64-FRODO.
You are welcome to call that number, but it's going to be really loud in here today, so I doubt we will hear anybody that calls in. I'm just going to give you that warning.
It's a good idea to text that number. So you can join us live on the hotline that I just mentioned, and there's also Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter Live, and all these other formats.
And we can see the chat room for all of them.
So, yeah, there's a lot to discuss.
Did this mic just die? Can you hear this?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear this just fine, everybody? Good. And there's a Tri-Wizarding tournament happening here at the exact same evening that we're doing this Lord of the Rings show. So welcome, everybody. Let's get right down to the big news. As I mentioned just a second ago, Chelsea, they brought out like the curriculum vitae reel. It didn't look like.
You know what it felt like? It felt like Amazon had been not looking, but watching our streams for the last few weeks, and all of us getting annoyed that we didn't have any updates. And then they went, you know what? We'll give you some updates. And they dropped this video with the entire creative team.
Yes. The writers, the 2 lead writers that they had brought in first. And then they had all these other writers that they showed. They're a group of executive producers who were revealed in this video. And most notably, of great interest, most notably, there was Tom Shippey, published Tolkien scholar, world-renowned and well-loved Tolkien scholar. Not only that, but there's Oscar winner John Howe, who shows up
Yes, I
in
was
the
really
video as
excited
well.
about that one.
Do you think the hype, the conversation that we were generating the last couple weeks pushed them to release this?
Yes, I really do, though.
Yes, yeah. The conversation has been generated here. That's why you guys are coming here. That's why you're on our Facebook group or in our message boards. That's why you're here with our live show. The energy has been here in this community asking, show us more. Who are these people going to be behind the scenes? The creative executives, the talented writers, what's going on? And instead of giving us what I would like to have seen, a proper introduction where they profile some of these people and maybe they get a second or two to talk about my first experience with Tolkien was blank. None of these writers got the chance to do that. There was nothing personal about it. It looked like a corporate PSA that you would show at a business meeting.
Well, that's where
or
they
at
showed
some,
it.
like stockholders meeting.
They showed it at a business conference.
Okay, yeah, it looked
And then
like
just
they
happened
showed
to
it
share it on Twitter.
Yeah, it was
looked like
called
it
the
was-
TCA, the Television Critics
Critics
Association.
Association.
Yeah, everybody knows Television Critics Association has their big annual to-do, much like when movie exhibitors, which are the theater owners,
right.
when movie exhibitors get together, they have their little to-do, and that's when they bring out
CinemaCon.
extra previews of movies and shows and new technology that they want to bring out for theater owners, and that's
You
that's
went
in
to
Las Vegas.
CinemaCon for The
Yeah,
Hobbit.
that's CinemaCon. So this was a trade, well, not a trade show, but it was an industry show. Is that right to say?
It's not industry. It's purely for the critics. It's literally for the journalists, broadcasters, writers, all of that stuff.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Chelsea. So for you folks who didn't know where this launch of information came from, it was not launched for our benefit, for the fans. It was not made for us. Okay, let's just get that thing out of the open. This little quick reveal was like, here's the curriculum vitae of the folks we have working on this program. That's all it was. Here's the CV of a whole bunch of writers and some executive producers, and here they are. We didn't really get to talk to them. They were not profiled in a way where we got to understand their, their interests or their focus or their love of Tolkien and their background of relatedness to Tolkien. We didn't learn about that. And Chelsea, I don't know how you feel about that, but that's what I felt was missing. Although, yes, it's nice to see fresh new faces. It's always great to see these new talented people they're bringing on board, but didn't bring us any closer to them. And it left us with more questions than it answered.
I mean, it didn't really leave me with any questions. I just went, all right, we got some answers. All right.
Really? It left
Yeah.
me with tons of questions.
Like what? What do you want to know?
Well, I think it's our job as the community to be asking the tough questions. And when I look at this, it doesn't look like anything that's ever come before. In the way that Peter, working on his 6 films, introduced his team of designers or craftspeople. It looks like you're sitting on an airplane, and here's the safety video for how to reach for the airbag and the floating cushion. That's what it looked like. There was not any relatedness to their passion for fantasy or their passion for Tolkien. It was not in this video. It seemed as if there's like a thing, John Howe and Tom Shippey, and they just seem to be things that were stuck in there, not people.
Oh,
not people with a background.
They stuck them in there to calm everybody else down as they saw things like Stranger Things and Westworld go across the table.
Yeah.
That's all that was.
Very intuitive. That's exactly right. That leads me to the point of what I'm trying to express was leaving me a little cold, or what left me rather disappointed with the whole affair, was that, Justin, you know what I'm saying? There was a presence of these people and their quick little credits, and then there was, for fan service, oh, by the way, here's Tom Shippey and here's John Howe. But it leaves me with other bigger questions, like, where is Alan Lee? Why is Oscar winner Alan Lee, who is part and parcel of that artistic team working with John Howe, why is Alan Lee not present? Question 1, did Amazon not ask Alan Lee to? If they did ask
I think you're jumping ahead.
No, I'm not. If they did, let me finish. If they did ask Alan Lee to participate, why did he not participate? Where is he? Where is
Let me ask you this. On the behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings.
What about a Barry Osborne or a Rick Porras?
Those guys produced a movie 20 years ago. They didn't even work on The Hobbit.
Allow me to finish a very salient point. It's the third time I'm asking to just finish my thought, please. And then we'll get to what you have to say. Please, Justin, let me get to this. Where is the connective tissue between these people we saw in this video and all the experience, the wisdom of those people who came before with the previous films? Where is it? Wouldn't they have brought someone in who would work with this group?
They did.
Has a lot of experience with the past.
They did.
To help guide the ship, because that's the kind of person who could be on your project, who has made the mistakes before and learned from them, who knew what worked and didn't work, who knew what to go ahead with.
I mean, as far as I can tell, there's nobody on here that doesn't have experience.
Yeah,
but
your argument is invalid.
There's nobody on here from the previous Peter Jackson or Weta.
John Howe.
Yeah, you have John Howe, which is
John
the most
Howe.
important one
John
to
Howe.
have out of it.
John Howe was only brought in to do the map.
Hey, who was harder to get on Lord of the Rings, John Howe or Alan Lee?
Did you hear me?
Which one took the longest to get on the show?
John Howe was only brought in to do the map for Amazon.
I know, but on
we
the
have
original
no indication
movies,
that he is working on conceptual artwork.
He is.
That
was
I have
this
more
video.
questions
That's
than I have
what it says in the
answers.
video, that he's doing more.
It does?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it doesn't just say map maker.
Yeah, but he was brought in with
They would not highlight John Howe in that video if his job was already over and it
Who
was
was
just
hired
the map.
first,
There's
John
no
Howe or
reason to
Alan
that.
Lee? Who was hired first, John Howe or Alan Lee?
That's a good question. I don't know who was hired first, the chicken or the egg. But I have a feeling that John Howe and
Who's
Alan
the
Lee
chicken?
came in. I've got a feeling that they both came in to Peter's
No,
project.
in the behind the scenes
JC has a thought
appendices
over here.
of.
Maybe the theme of the Amazon series is let the past die. And there's a reason why there's no
Yay.
connective tissue
Kill it if you have to.
to the other stuff, similar to what they've done with Star Wars. They don't want Peter Jackson. They want this to be their thing. Like, George Lucas, go away. Peter Jackson, go away.
I like
This
that we
is
have
our
a
thing.
visual storyteller to kind of connect it to Peter Jackson's thing, but I'd like it to be a news story and be removed from Peter
The fans
Jackson.
are behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, keep it in world, but like new, fresh blood. And I feel like that's exactly what we're
I
getting.
think Alan Lee just is old and didn't want to work on this. He's tired. He just wants to draw.
Nope. We don't know that for sure. It's just as likely that he was asked to
What does the
come
chat
on,
room say?
and
Who
he
was hired
refused.
first? Does the chat room say?
Oh, the chat room is not even talking about this. They're still talking about wizarding and what houses they're in since we started talking, which I love. I'm over here dying laughing that no one's paying
All right,
attention.
let's push this conversation. Let's talk about houses then.
Okay?
I think Shad actually said that he was sorted into Slytherin, but he's always felt like a Gryffindor. And I just wanted to say that I always thought I'd end up being a Gryffindor, and Pottermore sorted me Slytherin. And then I actually researched Slytherin and was like, oh no, I'm definitely a Slytherin. Definitely. And then on top of that, my last name is Schwartz. Schwartz is black in German. And all of House Black are Slytherins except for Sirius. And I was like, oh, so I was supposed to be a Slytherin.
I pegged you as a Slytherin, though.
Everybody was like, Chelsea, you were clearly a Slytherin. For some reason, I felt like I was a Gryffindor.
Honestly, I cannot take you seriously as your producer when you're dressed as Harry Potter characters and you want to criticize Lord of the Rings right now, you can't. I can't accept this. Chat room agrees with me. They can't take you seriously right now.
Who?
The
Chelsea or
chat
me?
room.
Both of us being in our wizarding with Dobby behind us, our house elf.
So let's talk about houses. Houses
No,
of healing.
actually, we're actually talking about the big news that everyone in the Tolkien community wants to talk about.
Oh, we've got one. Somebody said they think John Howell was hired first.
Okay. To JC's very salient point, he's on the topic with what I'm trying to get at. If they're trying to say we're distancing ourselves, then maybe this is another big piece of my discomfort. Maybe this video is actually further representing how Peter Jackson's earlier crew have been disenfranchised from working on this new project and being separated from working on this new project. I mean, where are the people who would help this project by saying, hey, yes, we're bringing in new faces, but we have one linchpin person.
And that's John Howe.
Who can be someone, and that is not John Howe.
Oh.
John Howe.
Oh, somebody else just said Alan Lee and John were hired at the same time on
I
Lord
don't
of
think
the
so.
Rings.
The
John-
appendices show otherwise.
Okay, John Howe is not hired to be an executive creative showrunner.
Nor should he.
Then you have conflated the point that I'm trying to make, Justin. Again, people, listen to this. The conclusion of this thought is very simple. I'm encouraged by new faces. Of course, we want to see new talent come on board. However, it looks like there's some disenfranchisement going on in that a person in a lead role, in a creative director type of position is not there. There isn't someone there to be the Guillermo del Toro and make all the big decisions. There's no J.J. Abrams there to make the big ultimate creative direction happen. There's no Peter Jackson there. There's no, like, Patty Jenkins, a person with a singular, strong creative vision.
Patty's kind of busy.
There is no one in this show reel. There's a bunch of people who've done some episodic television, and then there's the new guys who are the lead writers, but they have no experience. They've got nothing
I
under
disagree.
their belt.
Juan Antonio Bayona has done some of the most
I
creative,
wasn't
visionary
mentioning Bayona.
films.
You're conflating the point. I'm talking about, what are their names?
He's the executive producer.
He is only a hired gun.
He is the executive producer.
Bayona is only a hired gun.
No,
He
he's
is
the executive
only committing
producer. Did you see the video?
For sure, as two
He's
directing
for sure
episodes.
the executive producer of the entire series, along with his filmmaking partner. I don't know if they're partners in real life or if they're just filmmaking partners.
If that is true, then you've got a dozen executive producers. You still don't have one
But that's
person who is
normal.
the creative director.
Almost every show these days has a dozen executive producers. Every
Right.
show you look at.
Well,
Look.
we're-
Her name is on the screen. Her name is Belen Atenzia, which sounds very Silmarillion already. And look at the movies she's made. These are huge movies. Jurassic World, A Monster Calls. The Impossible was a beautiful film.
Yes.
So
yes.
this is
But-
she is skilled. She is J.A. Bayona's filmmaking partner, and they're the executive producers of the entire series.
Okay? Executive producers on television don't work the same way as showrunners and creative directors work in television. So I think that distinction should be made clear, right? All right? An executive producer might not be near as hands-on as some of these other folks that I'm talking about.
He's directing the first couple episodes because he wants to set the tone for all future directors.
Well, the thing that I'm raising my voice in concern about certain things that I think
And
are
I'm shooting
missing.
them down one by one.
You can't shoot them down because about 3/4 of them you've conflated with something else because you're not listening. But let me get back to you, Justin, on this, okay?
I love the
turning-
chat room has now decided that Torn Tuesday is a debate club.
Where's the Zane Wiener from the Hobbit films? Where's the Caroline Cunningham from the Hobbit films. Like a lead producer who is going to herd all the cattle back into the barn. Who is that
Why
person?
are you so sure that this woman can't do it?
I'm not so sure that that woman can't do it. I am not. No, hold on.
Justin, if you're going to keep shouting things, put your frickin' microphone back on.
I am not indicating that this person is disempowered by any type or form or because of her gender. Please don't lay that at my feet. I am not saying that she can't do it because of X. I'm saying that these roles are not defined in this video. The people.
But why are you assuming that they're not from the video? So every time a studio releases anything, it's never the full story. One of these people most likely is already spearheading this. But it seems like, from the way you're coming at it, because I hear a lot of abrasiveness in the tone when you're talking about this, of like, you're passionately worked up. And what makes you assume that one of these people isn't already spearheading? What makes you feel like we're missing something very key here?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet Bruce Richmond, the other executive producer. He's got quite a resume right there.
Yeah.
So you're telling me those shows are not good?
I'm sorry for being abrasive, but my intuition and other sources of information that I have are very, very, very strong. And I have come to understand that this video that we're all looking at is not the big hooray, manna from heaven. We're getting all this information and all of our answered questions.
It was
now
just
from
Amazon going, "Hey, we are doing things. Stop saying otherwise." That was all they were doing.
Welcome to what it's like being a Star Wars fan.
Whoa, JC said, "Welcome to what it's like being a Star Wars fan."
Well, okay.
Let's
Vicky,
meet
that's very nice of you.
Lindsay
Team
Weber.
Cliff and Team Chelsea all the way. Yeah, so that's very
Lindsay
nice.
Weber, look at those movies. You telling me that's not skills?
Also, I'm with a lot of the chat room on the "can't we all just get along? This conversation feels tense. What does conflate even mean, Precious?" I'm that somebody was laughing at my face because at one point when the two of you were debating, I just gave up and was like, I just want to be a nerd.
The word conflate is synonymous with confuse. If you've confused something with something else, you have conflated something
Let's
with
meet
something else.
Gene Kelly, the other
all it
executive
means.
producer.
Okay, can we talk about the name Gene Kelly and how you need to change your name? Because I was like, first of all, Gene Kelly died. And then that guy actually looks like it could have been the Gene Kelly I'm thinking of from Singing in the Rain, much older, but that my Gene Kelly is. I was very confused by this announcement.
Those are legit shows.
I know these are
With
legitimate.
heavy
Hold on.
heavy themes.
Hold on. I am not discounting the legitimacy of every single person that's shown in this video. However, I don't think this video gives us all that much information. I really think
It doesn't. It just says these are the people that are working, and we're working right now. We've made some decisions. We've hired some people, and these are the people that you can expect to see the next round of announcements from. That they're the people behind it. I really like this comment that we just got. I can't believe we're even discussing this without paying attention to how this decision was made. If they haven't bought the rights to take over this, because we are in the Second Age, and there's a lot more Second Age in the Silmarillion, which they do not have the rights to. I think that's a great point in question. Cliff, what do you think?
The question is, sorry?
That they said they can't believe we're having this discussion without the, knowing that they haven't bought the rights to like the Silmarillion.
Okay, this is a question from Robin, right? And I'm not sure if there's some confusion here. Paying attention to how the decision was made if they haven't bought the rights to take over this. Well, I'm not sure what that means exactly.
I think it's what I just said of the Second Age. There's a lot more meat in the Second Age stories in the Silmarillion than we have elsewhere, and we don't have the rights to the Silmarillion yet, right? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that is true. Yes. From what we understand, they do not have the rights to the Silmarillion at all. However, they have thousands of years of history in the appendices for the Second Age, and they have some other support from the Tolkien estate, but we don't know to what degree that support allows them to access other things.
Like, that's the news I want. Like, make all of the creative team announcements, the casting announcements you want, whatever. I was like, I want to know how we're getting this story.
Yeah. I want to know how far afield they're going in the Second Age. We all want to know where they're going to begin and where they're going to end on the Second Age. We want to know if they're really doing like just 2 seasons, or are they really going to do 5 seasons fully. These are things we don't know. However, you guys, the Twitter explosion has been great from people being very encouraged by Amazon's little video. But, you know, I don't know. I'm encouraged by, yes, seeing some vibrant, talented people, but I'm also discouraged by not seeing someone who's been put in place, like I said a few minutes ago, to be in a really specific creative director's job. Like, you know, Carolyn Cunningham, who's definitely one of Peter Jackson's people, who worked on the Hobbit trilogy. She could be that tendon, the tendon that brings the joints together, the old bones from the earlier films and the new bones from the new show that they're doing. That could be like the connective tissue person. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I feel is missing, the connective tissue. And it could be any male or female producer who has the experience of the past world building and can say, look, we've navigated the laws of New Zealand. We've navigated the landscapes. We've figured out how this works and how this does not work. You know, we know what time of year to build sets outdoors because we know when the seasons change. All these mundane things that Amazon might not know because they're hiring a whole bunch of new people who haven't worked on the previous stuff. So I'm wondering where that connective tissue is from the past and the future. And John,
I understand.
John Howe is not just going to be that one single person. He wants to come in very quietly. I know the man. He's so quiet and subdued. He wants to create beautiful pieces of art. He doesn't want to be in the room making creative director's decisions. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking that when Justin interjected that John Howe is that person from the past production, no, he's not a creative director. He wants to sit quietly and have his designs beautifully looked at and created. He doesn't even want to. Anyways, my frustration is unique because I'm probably the one person in the room.
I just think it's
who's
fascinating
complaining.
that you really need somebody specifically from Lord of the Rings or Hobbit to come in and do this, whereas there are dozens and dozens of people that shoot in New Zealand all of the time that have nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, that understand the climate and the weather and all of that stuff that they can bring in, and it doesn't have to connect to the old thing. So that's why I was just like, why do you need the connective tissue? They literally have hundreds of people that have never been in any of those films that can do that job. That
made the Avengers, that are making Avatar, that make billion-dollar movies. Let's meet some of the writers, shall we?
But before you get into that, Justin, there is a really great comment that I wanted from Kim. Did you see Tom Says As Much, the Tom Shippey interview today? Cliff, you should read that.
Kim Rudolph has appropriately reminded us that just about an hour after Amazon dropped that video, Tom Shippey went and did an interview, an off-the-record, unauthorized interview with our German Tolkien community group. And he said in this interview that Amazon, quote-unquote, must make a show taking place in that gray area which is covered in the appendices of The Return of the King, after the First Age, which they don't have the rights to, and the Third Age, which is covered by The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogy. He implies that they don't have much to work with and will have to make a lot of stuff up. Quote, it will be of great importance for the series when exactly the plot takes place, at which point in Middle-earth history something happens. This was one of our difficulties when creating a map for the Second Age, because you have to determine very precisely what date this map should be from. Tolkien wrote some of it down, but as far as the Second Age goes, the information we have is a 3-page timeline in the appendices to The Lord of the Rings and the list of kings of Numenor, and a little more material in Unfinished Tales, but that's about all.
Did you see that hardcore fans called out the Amazon map in the video of
Yep.
capitalizing Khazad-dûm?
Yep, Khazad-dûm should not have a capital D after the hyphen.
And that's why you're angry.
But that is also why, we as hardcore fans know that Middle Earth is not capitalized with an E for Earth, right? It's middle hyphen lowercase Earth.
Is anything on that map inaccurate? Glanduin, Khazad-dûm, Caradhras, Aragon.
Anything on that map that's inaccurate?
Yeah.
Oh, just little typos, not significant problems, no.
Okay.
Simple typos. But hey, okay. All right. I have to say, I may be negative Nancy, downer Debbie, whatever I'm being today, but this little video that Amazon dropped felt sterile and it felt lacking in organic
Cliff, let's
information.
be honest. You just want the series to come out tomorrow already.
Well, hey, I mean, I don't want to look at. All right, what's with the imagery of the typewriter? Let's just start with that. Is that supposed to be Tolkien's antique typewriter? John Ronald Reuel Tolkien never wrote things on a typewriter. As we
I
know,
just took it as a, hey, we're working here. This is the
Right?
team that's working. I don't feel like it was more.
But look, it's an ancient, antique 1920s typewriter.
Yes,
that they
but
used.
there's no writer's room today that's using any type of typewriter that isn't a laptop anyway.
I
That
know,
was just for
but-
style.
But the thing is, Professor Tolkien wrote in long form. He wrote all of his manuscripts in hand manuscript. It was his wife Edith who would often type things from his manuscripts. And I don't know. I'm just thinking that the whole thing is not the way that we've ever entered Middle Earth before, and I'm missing some organic connection to these people and what they love about Tolkien and what they're bringing to this project. I didn't get any of what I wanted from this video. Nothing.
And do you
Sorry.
think the sterility of this video is in response to a lot of the conjecture that fans were having about Benioff and Weiss potentially touching the show and other Twitter arguments?
Well, I don't know. No. Maybe. Hey, you know what? Maybe this video is actually a result of exactly what Chelsea said at the top of the hour. What we've been, screaming for months. We want more info. We want to talk about the writers and the producers who are working behind the scenes.
And on that note,
So I shouldn't be complaining, really.
I was not here last week to talk about Comic-Con at all, but I talked with the entire publicity team at Amazon during Comic-Con.
And?
And they're going to start bringing us some sweet information.
Oh, goody. Then I really shouldn't grouse. I
Yeah.
should not be grousing
Hey,
like this.
Don't bite the hand that's going to feed us.
Hey, no. Well, hey. I'm not trying to bite the hand, but I'm trying to ask the right questions.
I understand. No, it was a great conversation. They were very excited to meet me and have a connection to the OneRing.net more than just what they've seen online and what they watch of us. And we're about to be flooded with some really cool updates very soon.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Shad Damon in the Facebook chat says, our greatest fear is for Amazon to be cocky and think that they can toss anything together with no nod to the traditional Lord of the Rings lore and think that fans will respond positively because
Which I
we
believe
won't.
Shad is talking about earlier in the chat. People were wondering if this was going to be original content, as in they're creating stories from a gray area that nobody's seen. And in which case, if they did that, yes, if there was no nod to the traditional lore, a lot of people, I feel, would be upset, especially with that casting announcement for a character that has no ties to any story we know. And even if it's a code name, we can't seem to quite figure out where it's going to connect. And it can make everyone a little skeptical.
Let me just get this off my chest.
Is that Mel that said that? Mel, it says, guys, these are the early days. Give it time to evolve into Middle Earth. That's what I keep saying. That's literally like my mantra through all of these discussions, is that I just want to wait and see what we get. Like, I'm not going to tear apart the writer of Stranger Things because I have no interest in Stranger Things and be like, well, boo, Stranger Things doesn't serve me, therefore this Lord of the Rings series is going to be shitty. Like, let's see what they do with it.
Indeed. Well, yeah, let's see what they do with it. But I just
You
would
are
have
cautiously aware.
I would have been so pleased if this little video had said, "Hey, I'm one of the writers who used to be on Westworld, but you know what? The first book I picked up when I was 10 years old was The Hobbit, and it rocked my world." I would have liked to have heard something like that from these people, not just like a cold,
you actually want like an interview
you want
with
to
all of them.
validate?
Well, so I think maybe
This is
we
some
bring each of those people onto Torn and let them answer those questions to you directly.
That's what Star Wars fans do, and I don't appreciate what you just said, Cliff, that prove your level of fandom. Ringers have never been about show your quality. Have you even read the books?
Yeah, we're nice.
We don't have any room for that
No.
toxicity in this fandom. No one
No.
needs to prove anything to you
No.
or me or these fans.
No, that wasn't what I was asking for.
You
and
just said that.
I did not say they needed to prove their fandom. They had an opportunity to have an organic connection with us. This video was not organic. It seemed cold. It seemed corporate. It was overly prepared. It was nothing but a CV. It did not let any of those people
Enter
speak for
JC.
themselves. Hold on, Justin. You are putting words in my mouth, and it's irritating the living lights out of me, brother.
There's also
Knox.
nothing wrong as a fan who loves something with wanting the people who are creating that thing to also love it.
Yeah.
There's
they don't
nothing,
need to
and that's
prove
all Cliff
themselves.
said. There's nothing wrong if you want to. Like, if it's just a job to you, why are you, like, nobody in any discipline should be doing anything if it's just a job to them. There's enough vocations out there and enough people to fill them that everybody should chase something they love. So why are you picking people, and I'm not sure if that's what this is, but what Cliff is saying is if they have never read Lord of the Rings, if they're like, oh yeah, I saw those movies once. I like the one where the guy rides the big moose, right? Isn't that Gandalf? You know, like, those people shouldn't be working on something that's so precious to so many people. But
True,
Sean
Sean
Astin's
never
an
read
actor.
books.
Being an actor, you're playing a singular role. Being a showrunner, a director, a writer for a series, you have to conceptually understand what those things are about. And if you don't, if it's just, you're either going to get paint by number, right? Or you're going to, the people just, there's enough stuff out there that people should love what they're doing. And if you're not into it, why are you doing it?
I don't need any of these writers to prove, their fandom, but I'm just saying that there was a missed opportunity.
You'd
for
just
them
like to know if they're
speak.
aware of the lore, the stories, the movies, anything. That's what you want. You just want to know.
I just want a ground level of.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is the connective tissue you want. You want to know how they connect into Tolkien.
I just want a ground level of context so that we can begin our understanding of them. I cannot begin my understanding of them just by looking at their curriculum vitae. This video that Amazon gave us is the same thing as me going onto the Internet Movie Database and just looking at a bunch of bullet points of their previous credits. It doesn't tell me anything about how they feel about lyricism, romantic fantasy, high fantasy, Tolkien's linguistics, the background of fantasy in the publishing industry. I know nothing about these people.
You just
All right,
want...
so Cliff, if you found out one of these people had never seen the animation, any of the movies, or read any of the books, how would that make you feel?
I would be very discomforted. Very discomforted.
What if they went on and they spoke passionately about how excited they were to get chosen, and they were going to do deep dive into all things Tolkien before they started on the show?
Nope. You should never have even applied for that job if you were not an organic Tolkien fan in the first place.
But that doesn't mean they're not going to fall in love with it. I mean, I didn't like Lord of the Rings at all 14 months ago.
I was like, before we started doing Torn
and
here.
now that's all I do. Like my weekend, my days.
Not to mention Sean, like Justin said, Sean Ashton hadn't read any of the books before he got casted as Sam, and he loved the books when he went back and read them.
Right. I mean, yes. Yeah. All right. Look, when Peter Jackson was running around with Mark Ordesky and all those people, we knew because they told us so unequivocally how much they were Tolkien fans first and foremost, and it informed everything that they did. And now we're still kind of, we've got lots of new answers of talented writers and executive producers, and some of the visual effects people are also mentioned, but we still don't know. There's still more unanswered questions. That's where I'm at. I mean, wow. I'm sorry to be real negative Nancy, but I guess that's my job today. I am. But now,
You and I can commiserate,
we can.
in a about how the good old days used to be.
Can you now wait? Put these other two factors on the plate. Chelsea, check this out. It's the most expensive television franchise ever, and they are inevitably going to be in the shadow of the 6 films that came before. Why would you, Amazon Studios, hire people who are not in their bone marrow true blue, dyed-in-the-wool Tolkien fans? Why would
Because
you do
sometimes when you hire super fans, they're too close to the project.
Not if they're good, though.
but
Not if
that's
they're good at their job.
I said sometimes.
But why? How did Brian Cogman get his job working with David Benioff and D.B. Weiss? Because Cogman was the super fan that they needed to help guide them in transitioning the books to the films.
And now he's
that
on our
was mixed
team.
results.
And now he's on our team.
And now he's on our show because he's a super fan. But still, he's the guy who writes all these controversial scenes. I mean...
Okay, I love Toy Story 4, and when I saw that she was involved for this one, I was quite excited about it. And I'm not a Pixar fan. I didn't like the first 3 Toy Stories. We've got someone in the chat said Viggo Mortensen has never heard of the books before either. Yeah.
That was something of a miracle that it was Viggo's son, not Viggo himself. It was Viggo's 12-year-old, 13-year-old son who had the energy.
We talked about Justin
of
a little
Tolkien
bit.
Fandom.
He said, "What about these guys?" I said, "We talked about Justin a little bit, the guy from Stranger Things."
Oh, look! All right, look. Justin Doble, Glenise Mullins, Jason Cahill. All right.
I never watched Fringe, and I don't care about Stranger Things. But it doesn't mean that he won't bring great story writing.
I was a fan of Stranger Things up to a certain point. I was a huge fan of Fringe. Fringe was a very successful experience for me.
And I am a huge fan of *Halt and Catch Fire* with Lee Pace. That was one of the best shows of the last 10 years. *Halt and Catch Fire*, and now that he's on the show. *Fringe* should be a Lord of the Rings favorite because it starred Denethor himself, John Noble,
and Leonard Nimoy. In the Facebook chat,
and
audience member Peter Aronas says, just a perspective, I would think that the ideal here would ultimately be a TV series and 6 films, that collectively they would fit together as cinematic Middle-earth. Excellent point, Peter. We even don't know if they intend on continuing to make the new series similar in any way to the original 6 films, or whether they're going to disenfranchise the original creators and branch off.
The
to
intent
a
is
whole
to maintain
new, totally thing.
The intent is to maintain fluidity with the movies.
We don't know that yet.
So
we do. They've said that multiple times. The intent is to maintain
fluidity with the movies.
The same world.
Awesome.
That is the intent.
He goes on.
I'm just going to say one quick note, and you can jump straight back into this, Cliff. We have less than 15 minutes left of the show. I have got a bunch of stuff that's come up that I need to handle for our Tri-Wizard tournament at Scum and Villainy, so I'm going to jump off and say goodbye to everyone and let you guys keep debating all of the fun that's going on.
Oh, yes, we do. We have lots of fantastic people coming in. As you can see, Scum and Villainy is starting to become very widely populated. We're going to have a big Tri-Wizard tournament, are we not?
Yes, we are. And Slytherin is
So
going
much.
to take it. Slytherin for the win.
There's so much happening tonight. Oh, my gosh. But yes, Yes, my dear. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
On
And
this.
I'm actually really excited, everybody, to dive further into this in the coming weeks. I've got a lot of stuff to tell you guys about Amazon that I can't actually share yet, but I'm really excited. That announcement video, I know it made you concerned, but I looked at it and I said, finally, movement. We're getting somewhere. The show's going to come out. I can't wait to see what they do. I might hate it when it comes out, but right now, optimistic, and I'm excited. So
That's excellent. I have tempered my optimism with a big red flag, and that is I want to be more optimistic. And
I'm going to make it my mission to
I'm missing
bring
something.
each one of those people in the video onto Torn in the next couple of months.
I would love that.
And
Yes.
you can just tear them apart in a
No.
in a killing them with kindness kind of way.
No. If these wonderful folks are gonna be available, would love to have them come and talk. But
Absolutely.
I'm
And
afraid-
you wouldn't tear anybody apart.
No,
I was
no,
kidding.
Yeah, but you know what? This video just left me wanting. I felt like I've got
Well,
more
let's get
questions.
them in here and you can ask them all of those questions
Yeah.
and it'll be great. I know everyone in the chat room wants that, right, guys? Right? I know you do.
Yes, indeed. Thank
All
you.
right. I will see you guys next week, and Cliff will be with you for like another 10 minutes, and then he's going to poof into his Dumbledore-ness himself.
Yep, I'm going to be, managing some mischief of my own this evening. Hello. Thank you, Chelsea. It's been fantastic. So, as we continue our final moments of this hour on the OneRing.net, I have to ask JC, welcome to the world of being a Star Wars fan, is what you just said a little while ago. Because what? Because now you're afraid that your beloved franchise is going to go off into a different direction, or it might have...
And they don't want to include you in it.
Yeah, and then they don't want to include the fans in it. But the ultimate... Look, this is where the rubber meets the road, my friends. We have a lot of information now, but we still have a million new questions that I can't even begin off the top of my head.
Twitter was most excited, besides John Howe and Shippy, Twitter was most excited about this name, Rick Heinrichs, as
Rick Heinrichs.
production designer,
Yes. A production designer?
who's worked on Sleepy Hollow, Pirates of the Caribbean, and The Last Jedi. And I gotta say, those are three of the most beautiful designed films of the last 15 years. Dead Man's Chest is probably my favorite Pirates of the Caribbean film. It is just visually, it's just wonderful to look at.
It is. However, I'm in full agreement with this gentleman who was in the live chat, and I'm gonna finish reading his thoughts because it's so concise. And if that's one thing I've been lacking today, ladies and gentlemen, it's being concise. And so forgive my temper and my lack of being concise. But hey, hashtag nerd world problems. In the live, thank you. Yes, in the live chat, the gentleman Peter Aronas says, the ideal, ultimately, would be a TV series and 6 films that collectively fit together as a quote-unquote cinematic Middle-earth.
That's the plan.
And that one way to do that would have been to have been with a team that was created both with new blood and new talent, but supported by veterans from the original films. That way, you have the best of both worlds. 20 years of experience of creating Middle-earth, side by side with fresh voices of creativity. But this existing team, based upon the video that we've got, although they're immensely talented, seems like it is missing a counterbalance of talent that we've come to trust for many years now. And I agree with that. There's a counterbalance.
So you're
that I don't
saying
see
that they
there.
just need to hire Weta Workshop and make you happy?
Well, now, those are the remaining questions, do we not? Everybody in the room, hello. Anybody, if you'd like to see Howard Shore, Oscar winner Howard Shore, return to the Lord of the Rings to make music for the new Amazon TV series, raise your hand right now. Howard Shore doing the music for the Amazon TV series. That's a good majority of everybody. Now put your hands down. Next question. Would you like to see a totally separate new person making new music for Middle-earth, which is different from all the award-winning Howard Shore music? Raise your hand. New music, different person, not a single hand raised. You see what I'm talking about, folks? That's the kind of questions that I still have. We We're like a fan group which is wandering around saying in the dark, when are they going to drop this album? But it's worse than that. We don't know the musicians on the album. We don't know if any of our favorite people from the past are going to come back.
Music comes last.
Saying,
Did I?
Okay, this gentleman says there's no point. I'm sorry, I really can't hear myself, folks. There's no point, he says, if you're not doing the Silmarillion. Well, that was never going to happen because they don't have the rights to it. However, we know that this new deal that Amazon Studios has is with the Tolkien family. And if the Tolkien estate is happy with the new series, then that might be a gateway, the gateway drug that gets them to eventually get Silmarillion licensed. But that might happen years from now, depending upon the success of what they float in front of us right now. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Having access to the Silmarillion would be the best thing. It really would. Now, I know. I really wish that we could have the Silmarillion. Now, everybody says, yes, Howard Shore. What about you, Justin? Is there one key element from the past 6 films that you think is so integral it should absolutely be in the new Amazon series? Name it.
I love this new team. I love the new energy it brings. I love that they're referencing old and established voices in Middle-earth and bringing in new blood.
That's not an answer? Like you sound like you're at the political debates tonight. You're just giving a walkabout.
You know what?
Word salad.
All right. I just have one thing to say about this man.
I love this man. That's
this man is J.A.
busting his
Bayona.
chops.
Juan Antonio Bayona. And you know who he is a protege of? Guillermo del Toro.
I know the pedigree of Juan Antonio Bayona.
He is Guillermo del Toro's guy, and we are finally getting a Middle-earth that is as close to Guillermo as we will ever get, and I'm so excited.
Del Toro's guy. I know that.
So you're telling me you wouldn't want Guillermo del Toro's Middle-earth?
You know what? I'm really glad to have a very talented director like Mr. Bayona come in and do this type of stuff. His work on the lyricism and phantasmagorical things like A Monster Calls means to me he's got all the tools in his director's toolbox. He's got the acumen and the skills, and he's got the tools.
And he's Guillermo's guy.
And he's Del Toro's man. Yeah, that's one of the
They share
highlights.
an aesthetic.
I'll admit with you, that's one of the highlights that has me excited is that Mr. Bayona has brought in his partner, and she's sharp as a whip. She's the producer who does all of his stuff with him, and I'm glad that he's brought in his team. But what we have not seen is Daniel Falconer or Richard Taylor. We have not seen any of our friends from Weta. We haven't heard a word about, any of the old guard coming in to be part of this, except John Howe doing some conceptual work on the map, or other conceptual artwork. I'm dying for more, but I'm not going to take down this whole video in flames of aggression, which is what everybody seems to think I've been doing today. I just want more. I want more. That's the nature of being a hardcore nerd. You get something and you're not satisfied, you want more. But as it turns out, they're already throwing a ton of money at this. They're already filming. They have people in Auckland already, and they are building new sound stages, and they're even building physical sets outside where people can see them. And I would love, if any of our friends from Auckland are listening, yeah, that's right. Any of you guys out there in New Zealand, if you want to hop over a fence in the middle of the night, take some pictures for us, we would love that, because they are building sets outside. That's what we're hearing. But what do you say, Justin? You think that this is the best possible video with the best information that Amazon Studios could have given us?
I am so excited, and I am shocked at your reticence. I am shocked at your reaction to this, because this is awesome. And I almost feel like you got spoiled. You got spoiled by Guillermo del Toro showing up on the One Ring message boards saying, "Hey guys, it's really me, and I hope I can do you right." And I think you got spoiled by that service, that fan service. And I think this is a reaction to Amazon not giving you any fan service. And I think that's a personal issue you need to work through.
Okay. All right. I'll take off the ring. It's affecting my temper. You're right. All right, guys. All right. You guys in the live chat are very supportive, and I want to say thank you for being part of our live show. It's really fantastic to have you. For those people who have just walked into Scum and Villainy, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tri-Wizard Tournament. But we're actually in the final moments of the OneRing.net live stream for the worldwide audience of J.R.R. Tolkien fans. And as we get near the end of our show, we're at a point of general excitement, wild enthusiasm, and on my end, an abundance, maybe an overabundance of narrow-eyed caution.
Cliff, what do you think of these guys?
Because I'm trying to figure out the landscape here. Amazon Studios, as you may or may not know, has spent $500 million to license The Lord of the Rings, and they're getting ready to make their new series that's not even going to be The Lord of the Rings. It's going to be something else entirely.
So what do you think of these guys?
So, yeah, these guys are the biggest question mark of all. Payne and McKay. So
We will get to know their name well, won't
these
we?
guys, look at these guys. Payne and McKay are the lead writers. The lead writers.
This is our Benioff and Weiss.
They are the D&D of this show. They're the
May they
Benioff
succeed
and Weiss.
until they fail.
They are. Now, for better or for worse, it looks as if Amazon is getting exactly what it wants. They've brought in people from Game of Thrones, from Jurassic World, from Eureka, from
Breaking Bad.
They
Hannibal.
brought in people from Westworld and a lot of other Halt and Catch Fire, and very talented folks.
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4. But they've also left us wondering exactly what's going on, and
Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak. I love
you know
that
what?
movie.
I'm a big fan of Crimson Peak.
Edge
I
of
love
Tomorrow.
Crimson Peak.
Wonderful.
And I'm one of the few people who actually appreciated Suicide Squad for what it was.
Pirates of the
Actually.
Caribbean. The Last Jedi. I absolutely love. I love The Revenant. If you want to bring a reality to Lord of the Rings and maintain the visual reality that Lord of the Rings established, you want the guy that did The Revenant. The Revenant was a beautiful film with a realistic bear fight. Everything in The Revenant is beautiful, and I love that guy.
I love Rebecca. Rebecca's joke says Payne and McKay sounds like a divorce law firm. That's funny. Yeah, Payne and McKay. All right, you guys. It looks like we are winding down our show.
Doesn't this guy give you hope, though?
Tom Shippey gives me hope because I want to know that he was brought in by Amazon to do more than just work on a map. I want to know that
He is
working on
He
more than just the map.
He is. This isn't just for the map. This is
Yeah?
the show.
Yeah, okay, we'll see about that. But
You just want his job.
No. Honestly, for any of you Tolkien fans out there and for the audience who's with us live, pick up a copy of Author of the Century by Thomas Shippey, one of the best and most insightful books into the man who created Arda and the worlds of Middle-earth. Definitely Tom Shippey is, well, he's the golden flower in their hat at Amazon. And so is John Howe. And it's kind of exciting to see that they're still there, but I really want to get into granular details and learn more about these other folks and what it is that they love about John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. That's mostly what I want to know.
They don't owe you anything.
I beg your pardon?
They
Justin?
don't owe you anything.
Now, that is a very wrong-headed thing to say, and I was going to try to end the show on a positive note, but because of Justin, we're going to have to end the show on a negative note. My apologies to everybody, but yes, they do owe us something. It is called a relationship. It is called enfranchisement with a worldwide community of fans that are going to be the best litmus test of what they're doing. Okay? when Justin, when you sit there and say that they don't owe us anything at all, I think that is intrinsically wrong. And my intuition is such, it is so strong here. They would only benefit by keeping us within the realm of this creative process. They would be at a huge, huge disadvantage to say consistently, we don't owe the fans anything, and to shut the door on the fan community and not involve them and not ask them what they want and not even make an attempt to understand what the fans want. If anybody at any film studio thinks that they can spend $500 million and fool us, they're not going to fool us. They can't pull the wool over our eyes. We're Tolkien fans. We're too intelligent. We're too well-read. We're too smart for that. We owe them the same thing that they owe us, a symbiotic relationship where our energy and our fandom and our experience tells them that they're on the right track. We are the ultimate barometer, and they ignore us at their peril. End of line. End of line. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for the OneRing.net Torn Tuesday. I am one half of the equation. I'm missing Chelsea Schwartz, my beautiful co-host. You can find her at Uncool Rockstar on all social media. And myself, my name is Clifford Broadway, also known as Dumbledore. And I am going to be working for the Tri-Wizard Tournament. If you're here in Southern California, come on down. Join us here at Scum and Villainy. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And one last thing. You guys, thank you for being with us. You are a faithful 7-year-long live stream audience. You've been with us all this time. Couldn't do it without you. Next week, Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we're going to be here live again talking about more mischief and more information right here on the OneRing.net. You can follow me on all social media streams at QuickBeam2000. That's QuickBeam, the Ent 2000. And we'll see you guys on the other side next Tuesday, live at 5 o'clock. Until then, buenas noches y buena suerte.